Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Impact Bound for Glory 2020 review. Certainly not a huge show like I had hoped, but a completely respectable show. And in the face of Hell in a Cell the same weekend, they did a better all in all show from a satisfaction for storyline standpoint, even if they didn't give us surprises wanted. Yes, there were problems with this show, including talent becoming injured and other unfortunate events such as talent not appearing. But in any event, you know, there are certainly things that are here. So the pre-show is the Deaners win a tag match. Cody and Cousin Jake defeating the Rascals, Desmond Xavier, and Zachary Wentz. Deaners win following a T2G on Dez, and I mean there was nothing to it. The Rock does make a appearance during the Ken Shamrock Hall of Fame speech during the same pre-show. He says he shared the ring with many people, and he has a lot of gratitude to Shamrock. At the time, he was cutting his teeth as a heel. He needed the best hero and a badass, and that was Shamrock. He said he could have refused to work with the young kid, but he didn't. He said Ken was a founding member of UFC and the Attitude Era, and he was extremely proud of Ken and thanked him for the memories. This was complete class, and with a guy at Dwayne Johnson's level, no reason for him to do this other than the fact he was a classy person. Matt Stryker introduces Shamrock. He said a lot of people got him to his goal. He thanked Nelson Royal, who helped him get into professional wrestling. He thanked Vince McMahon for giving him an opportunity to enter the WWF when wrestling was hot. He thanked Bret Hart and The Rock for helping him build a character. And he thanked his family and fans across the world. And he thanks the fans a second time. To close, Don Callis and Josh Matthews on the commentary table. Don Callis is a cut above the rest as far as commentators go. It's a shame that he's with Impact. I mean, it's good for Impact, but I'd love to see him with a more reputable company. So, X Division champion Rohit Raju defeated TJP, Willie Mack, Jordana Grace, Chris Bay, and Trey Miguel in a one-fall scramble match. Story of the match is that everyone hates the champion and goes after him. Everyone ends up taking each other out in the process. Rohit dodged around and hit outside the ring. Basically, they're putting good heel heat on him. I'm not particularly a fan of the in-ring work of Rohit Raju. It's just not my cup of tea. But character-wise and the way he's portrayed, he gets it. And he's getting over because he's doing something that people generally aren't doing, and that is being a true heel. TJP, Bay, and Miguel, they go into a series of counter holds and reversals. Mac and Miguel, Grace and Mac do a series of shoulder blocks and other power moves with each other. Jordana Grace in this sequence makes me uncomfortable because she's a woman, and I'm not completely down with the man-on-woman violence in full matches. A spot here, a spot there, I'm fine with. But full matches, it's just not my thing. TJP has a spot where he locks all four wrestlers in different submissions, and the champion breaks it up by taking advantage of the fact no one could defend themselves. And Raju dominates the ring for a bit. He worked on Grace. Mac jumps in, takes him out, and then they're all everybody in the match is focusing on the champion, taking turns beating him up. And then we all do the everybody in the ring hits a dive one at a time. Bay drop kicks Miguel, who's on TJP's shoulders, and this goes into the crowd onto the floor. Tower of Doom spot with Miguel on top, and Grace pulling them all down. And Rahet jumps in, hits a foot stomp on Grace for a 2 count. I mean, lots of... If you like innovative spots that don't have to be sequential or make sense, this is good. If you need your wrestling to make sense, this is not great. Everyone takes turns hitting their finishers. TJP almost gets submission on Miguel, if not for Jordana Grace breaking it up. TJP hits a Mamba splash. And right before the win, Rahet Raju jumps in, hits a knee on TJP and steals the pin on Miguel. I mean, for the purpose of the storyline and the fact that you can do more with Rahet, who just signed a 3 or 4 year contract extension, okay. Skit about the Rosemary Bravo wedding. They're going to get married in the ring. Jimmy Jacobs interrupts them to tell them to get ready for the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Rhino and Heath basically try to hype each other up. And then this is live. They actually re-show the same promo, and it was recut down. They do a video package to introduce all of this. Rhino pins Sami Callihan to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, basically. Rhino can call his shot whenever he wants it for a championship match. As winner of the match gets a shot at any championship they desire. Rhino and Heath keep their jobs. If they hadn't won, neither one of them would have been employed. Heath gets a contract with Impact Wrestling because of this. Rhino starts off with a returning Daivari in the third spot. And, I mean, Daivari looked good here. Larry D goes straight for Rhino, teaming up with Daivari. Crazy Steve is in at number 4. And AC Romero comes in at number 5. Romero and Larry D managed to dominate the thing for a while. Tennille Dashwood comes in next, and she sends Caleb with a K inside instead. Havoc's out next. And Havoc eliminates Caleb, and then Tennille gets in, and then Brian Myers comes in. He eliminates Crazy Steve. Swaggo returns to Impact at number 9, which is fun. I mean, I think some returns are good, and Swaggo's fun. Eliminates Myers, and then... Myers eliminates Daivari. Myers betrays Swaggo and eliminates him. Tommy Dreamer's out next, coming out with Road Warrior, animal face paint and a haircut, and goes in with weapons. Goes right for Myers. And Swaggo is eliminated, but still helps Dreamer with a mini Doomsday device, which was a cool tribute. R.I.P. to Animal. Alicia Edwards comes in next at 11. Myers eliminates Dreamer. Edwards and Kiera Hogan enters at 12. She goes at it with Havoc for a while. Myers pretends to take a picture with Tennille and eliminated her instead. Lucky number 13, Taya Valkyrie, and Rosemary and Bravo are with her. Taya comes in, strong chopping Larry D, and... Romero hits a knee attack. Falaba comes in at 14. Havoc eliminates Hogan, and Taya eliminates Havoc. Only get eliminated by Triple XL. Hogan, Steele's head went straight into the garbage can, and Dreamer had brought, I don't know if this is a legit injury or not. 15 is the returning James Storms. He takes out both of the XXL members. Adam Thornstone out next at 16. Lost to the Legend at 17. Heath comes in at 18. Eliminates AC Romero and Brian Myers. Sami Callihan at 19. And finally, Hernandez gets in at 20. Hernandez and Reno Scum go after Fallah Bahh. Hernandez had money stolen from him on Impact a few weeks ago, so this makes sense. Bahh would rather eliminate himself than win the match. Hernandez leaves the match in pursuit of Fallah Bahh. It's kind of goofy. I mean, if this is for championships, shouldn't you want to win? Thornstone and Luster eliminate. Next, leaving Callihan, Heath, Rhino, and James Storm as the final four. Heath here shows hurt. He later is announced to have a hernia after the pay-per-view. Callihan eliminates Storm and Heath, and it's down to Rhino and Callihan in a one-on-one match. Callihan hits a cactus special piledriver. Rhino kicked out. Callihan goes for a chair, but it's taken away by the referee, and Rhino gores him to win. Not a special match. Gia Miller out next. Interviews the North about the upcoming match. Josh Alexander said the odds are against them, but they work best under pressure. Ethan Page said they won't only win the titles, but they'll also hurt someone. Ethan Page is one of the best things that Impact has, and they've, to my feeling, wasted him. I think he could have been like a main singles guy. So putting him in a tag team was just kind of wasteful unless that's what he wanted. Moose versus EC3 in a cinematic match. Not a good deal. Moose arrives. There's an underground ring. EC3 is beating up somebody else. Moose and EC3 go face to face. They come to fight. EC3 dominates for a couple minutes. Moose drops him with a low blow. And he gets busted open on exposed turnbuckle. Exposed? Don't think so. Moose then beats him up, and they brawl outside the ring. EC3 gets the better of Moose during the brawl. EC3 starts cutting a promo how TNA title is basically dead, and as EC3 is about to hit his finishers, he has flashbacks of the past, and he blocked them out, allowing Moose to hit the lights out. Moose beats him up some more, and right as EC3 told him to control his narrative, Moose finished him off with a title belt shot. This was horrid. I've heard that EC3 is going to ROH. Maybe this is just the way they're finishing him up, but it was miserable. Almost WWE level miserable, honestly. Anyway, we get a recap of the Hall of Fame. Ken Shamrock defeats Eddie Edwards. Basically, they try to work it like an MMA fight. Shamrock catches Edwards with a knee out of nowhere, got his back, and started beating on him with a rear naked choke. Eddie reversed, gets Shamrock on guard for a bit, and, I mean, this is the basic theme of the match. Shamrock works over Edwards for several minutes, punches and knees to the heads, kicking. Edwards' injured leg. Edwards tries to use his own strong strikes. It doesn't really work out. Edwards lands a Blue Thunder Bomb and started going after Shamrock's legs. Edwards lands a dive and a missile drop kick to turn things around right before he goes for the Tiger Bomb. Shamrock reverses it into a pin. Reverses a pin into a triangle hold. Shamrock reversed into a stunner from a rear naked. Edwards hits the Boston Knee Party and locks in a single leg crab for submission. And then Callihan turned off the lights. Callahan and Edwards are both have weapons. Edwards takes out Callahan, but the distraction is enough for Shamrock to lock on the ankle lock and submit him. I mean, Shamrock at 57 years old and a Hall of Famer did an amazing job here. It's not, Hall of Fame worthy in terms of quality of match, but it served its purpose. Anyway, we move to the Tag Team Championship match. The North, Ethan Page, Josh Alexander defeating the Motor City Machine Guns, Ace Austin, and Madman Fulton, and the Good Brothers to become the new Impact Tag Champs. I'm not sure I agree with this. Match starts with the North taking out Sabin and Shelley. Shelley with a pile driver on the ramp. And then basically it's announced later that Shelley gets a stinger out of this. Sabin was legal and he couldn't tag out. He's kept away from the Good Brothers corner while the North and Ace and Fulton takes turn working him over. Sabin stays in babyface selling mode for the majority of the match. Both heel teams work him over for a long bit. Sabin gets a desperation DDT on Fulton and drags himself to the Good Brothers corner to tag out. Anderson gets the hot tag, goes nuts on Austin. Gallows comes up with an assisted neckbreaker for near fall, followed by Gallows and Fulton in a strike battle, which was just amazing. Gallows takes out the North. Sabin gets a blind tag, goes nuts. Sabin and Anderson had a good exchange. They do a strike battle. Austin comes back in with a blind tag of his own. Sabin starts taking on everyone around the ring, hits a cradle shock for 2 count. Page breaks that up. Finish sees Anderson roll up Josh Alexander. Alexander kicks out, sending Anderson right into Page, who had a title belt in hand. They've done the title belt shot before with the Moose thing, so I'm not necessarily a fan of this. Anderson laid him open, and Alexander manages to pin him for the win to regain the titles. This was not good. Then we go backstage. Rosemary and Havoc left to retrieve Father James Mitchell. Johnny Bravo flips on Taya. Hints of Taya betrayal later on. Su Yung defeats Deanna Purrazzo with Kimber Lee to become the new Knockouts champion. Deanna makes her entrance. Kylie Rae's music comes on, and she didn't come out. Purrazzo cuts a promo. Kylie had no-showed and calls out anyone in the building who wants to wrestle her. Purrazzo pretends to be scared of Su Yung, and the commentators basically acknowledge this as her not being prepared for the match. Su dominates early and hits Purrazzo with a backbreaker on the apron. Purrazzo tries taking down Young with roll-ups, but just can't keep her down. Young hits palm strikes in every corner. And eventually, Purrazzo manages to block an Anaconda, turns it around for her, and she works on Young's arms, or single arm, and then goes for submissions for quite a while. Purrazzo locks in several submission holds, hits a drop kick in the ropes, follows with 3 German suplexes, and Young gets dropped with a DDT for a near fall from Su Yung. Purrazzo gets dropped with the DDT by Young. Su Yung gets her second win, hits a rolling senton from the apron to the floor, followed by a pedigree. Shout out to Hunter, who didn't see talent in Su Yung. Anyway, Purrazzo's down, and Su Yung brings out her glove. Young tries to lock in the mandible claw. Referee takes a bump and couldn't count this. Kimber Lee takes out Young with a chair. Purrazzo tries to Pillmanize Young, who manages to dodge the trouble. Young then got the claw on Purrazzo and does the poison mist on Lee. Purrazzo escapes. Su Yung hits a stunner and a panic switch, and they switch the title. It's not a bad match, but with Kylie Rae being probably the second biggest match on the show, her not being there is just really sad. I've heard a lot of rumors. I actually talked to friends I have in Impact, and all I can say is I hope Kylie Rae is emotionally, mentally, and physically okay. Physically has been ruled out, but there are things going on with her from what I've understood. Anyway, Matthews, Reigns, and Callis announced that Impact is bringing back the Knockout Tag titles. First champions crowned on pay-per-view on January 16th of 2021. Can't believe we're already talking about 2021. Rich Swann and Eric Young. Swann becomes the new champion here. This is cool. Young goes after Swann and his bad leg. Challenger keeps dodging and does many reversals. Young gets sent out of the ring. They brawl outside the ring. Swann hits a dive. And basically they do a tease of Swann injuring his neck here. Young goes after the neck, hit a top rope neck breaker, and works over the neck for the next several minutes. Swann keeps fighting back. Swann is amazing at selling. WWE was foolish to let him go. He has great babyface fire after every kick out. And then Young starts kind of getting a little cocky. And then he's yelling at the camera. He's playing to the people at home. Swann makes a comeback and powers up and strikes, and then hits a top rope dive. Swann hits a Damaguri and a leg scissors and a frog splash combo for near fall. Young hits a falling elbow onto the neck and goes into the crossface. Swann makes it to the ropes. Both men exchange strikes in the middle of the ring. A third neckbreaker on Swann. Young takes down Swann, going after the ankle, and Swann gets out of the pile driver. Attempted takedown. Young hits a kick combo and a standing Phoenix splash by Swann. For the 2 count, Young had Swann in the tree of woe. Swann gets a hold of Young's neck and swings around, hits a cutter. Swann hits his finish with a lethal injection and a Phoenix splash for the win. Great match, awesome storytelling, best match of Rich Swann's career, I would imagine. And the babyfaces come out to celebrate as we close the pay-per-view. Overall, much better than Hell in a Cell. Worth going out of your way to see. We'll be back with more superstars of wrestling as well as other things. But until then, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.